Karnataka is witnessing protests across the state due to the increased power bills that consumers have got in the month of June 2023. Now, remember, the lead had already done a story of a young man, a very angry consumer, who stated that his power bill had gone up by 3 times in the span of just 1 month, and this is for pretty much the same amount of electricity that has been used in his home. He has paid about 3 times more than what he paid in the month of May, and this is also the case that is being witnessed across the state. And the BESCOM offices, that is, BESCOM is the power utility. The various power utility offices are all full of people, angry consumers who are demanding to know why they have to pay so much when it comes to the month of June. So, very interesting kind of developments here, because of course this is in stark contrast to the fact that the Congress government has already announced 200 units of free power to a select set of customers. Of course, the terms and conditions apply on each of the freebies that the Congress government had announced in the run-up to the elections last month. So let's quickly go through the 5 guarantees that have been announced by the Congress, and we will take a look at what terms and conditions are, and also I'm going to compare this with the situation in the state of Tamil Nadu, the neighboring state. Why am I doing this? Because many of the schemes, the guarantees that the Congress has announced, many of these have already been implemented by Tamil Nadu or are waiting to be implemented in Tamil Nadu. So, why are we looking at this? Simply because there are, financial and economic fallouts for each of these freebies. No, there is no such thing as a free lunch, and I think a lot of you have been talking about this. There is no such thing as a free lunch, and prices are going to be hiked across the board wherever the state governments can afford to, or they have control over the prices. So it's going to be a sort of reminder. The comparison that I do is going to be a kind of a reminder to people of Karnataka that this is what is likely to happen next. So let's quickly go through this. So we have 5 guarantees. One is Griha Jyoti, that's 200 units of power free. Gruha Lakshmi, which is 2,000 rupees monthly dole for the woman head of the family. Anna Bhagya, which is 10 kilograms of free rice. Shakti, which is a free bus pass for women. And Yuvanidhi, which is 3,000 per month for unemployed graduates, plus 1,500 per month for unemployed diploma holders. So these are the 5 guarantees that the Congress government has made. Now, let's look at the most important one, the one which is top of mind and over which protests are being held across the state of Karnataka. I'm going to compare Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, so bear with me. In Tamil Nadu, AIADMK announced 100 free units of power. This has been applied across the board to all domestic users of power, and this 100 units will be automatically deducted from the EB bill of every month. This scheme has been in place since 2016, and the DMK government is continuing it. Now, of course, there are pretty much, there are no terms and conditions on this. Anyone who's a domestic consumer is getting 100 units of free power. When I was living in Chennai also, 100 units was deducted and the rest of the usage was billed. But Karnataka has chosen to put terms and conditions. Now, let me explain the terms and conditions. If average power consumption in 1 year, if average monthly consumption of power in 1 year is say 50 units, right? Now what happens is that the power utility then calculates, okay, you're doing 50 units per month. All right, let's put an additional 10% on that. That's 55 units. So up to 55 units, it is going to be free. Okay. Now, if it is more than 55 units, if your consumption of 1 month is going to be more than 55 units, let's say it is 60 units, you will be charged for 5 units of power. Okay, this is where the the muddle lies. So basically, what they're doing is they are calculating a base value for you. If it's 50 units on average in the last 1 year, they will add a 10% grace mark kind of thing, and that becomes your base value. So anything above that base value will be charged. Now 55 is still less than 200 units, but that is not the point. You are going to be getting a base value of 55, and if you go to 55, you're going to have to pay for the extra power consumed. Only 55 units is free. All right. Now, fixed charges, which are also part of your electricity bill, fixed charges will have to be paid by the user, whether it is one of the recipients of free power or whoever is paying the bill. In any case, we are all paying the fixed charge. But the people who are getting the power free, the 200 units of power free, those people will also have to pay the fixed charges. Now, on the other hand, power tariffs have been hiked by 2.89 rupees per unit. Okay, and now, as you can see, all of the protests that are taking place in Karnataka, this is due to the fact that arrears are being collected, which means that retrospective amounts are being collected now from this month onwards, and that's the reason why you're witnessing bills being anywhere between 50% to 300% higher than the previous month. So this is mainly the reason for all of this confusion. Of course, Bescom, unfortunately, I'm sorry, not just Bescom, I'm talking about all of the other power utilities in Karnataka as well. They are unable to explain to consumers, they are unable to help them understand what exactly these charges are. And therefore, there's a lot of confusion across the state on this. Now, on top of all this, now power, as I already said, power tariffs have been increased by 2.89 rupees per unit. And this is the reason there are so many people coming out protesting. There are angry scenes outside the power utilities, and this is the reason why people are upset, because they're paying so much more in just a span of 1 month. Now, power cuts have also been increasing of late across the state, not just in Bengaluru. um, Now, I want to compare this situation with the DMK regime. All right. Now, power cuts during the 2006 and 2011 regime of the DMK, power cuts were the norm. We had 13 to 16-hour power cuts on a daily basis in summer. And it got so bad, there were protests on the streets. People were angry, they were upset, work was not happening. And this is largely because the DMK government of the time had managed to mismanage the discoms. And demand had far outpaced the supply, and a lack of planning on the part of the government and the power utility, wherein they did not tie up long-term power purchases with cheaper sources of power. So what happens is that a situation is created where it's almost like an emergency situation, where you have 13 to 16 hours of power cuts, and the DMK government then went ahead and began to buy very, very high cost power from producers who used naphtha. Now, naphtha is one of the most expensive fuel for producing power, and this kind of a crisis situation was utilized by the DMK to go ahead and purchase very high cost, power from naphtha plants. These are private producers, and again, this is a vicious cycle. Taxpayer money is being wasted. So I'll give you an example. So, if, for example, at that time, if the cost of 1 unit of power was purchasing 1 unit of power from, say, a thermal power plant, right? A thermal power producer was, say, three rupees per unit. Let's assume, right? Now, these naphtha power plants would charge 11 to 13 rupees per unit. So you can see the kind of ridiculous, the ridiculous difference between the two. Now, this is again a question of taxpayer money being wasted, and a whole lot of this taxpayer money also went into the pockets of politicians and many officials. So now that the power cuts are starting in Karnataka, like my mind is going back to the Tamil Nadu of yore, and I would not be surprised if this same is followed and it takes place next in Karnataka. All right, let's move to the second scheme, Griha Lakshmi Yojana. Now, Griha Lakshmi Yojana is another scheme where women. It's a women-centric scheme, and they get 2,000 rupees. The woman head of the family gets 2,000 rupees from the government on a monthly basis. Now, registration for the scheme will start from the 15th of June, and it is said that 85% of the families in the state would be covered. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how many more, uh, you know, terms and conditions are added to this. Now, to be women have to be enrolled as the yajamani or the head of the household in the BPL, APL, and Antyodaya ration cards. Now, if they have not enrolled as if their name is not given as that of yajamani, then it is they will not have access to this 2,000 rupees scheme. Now, there are also some conditions on this. The taxpayers, either women who are taxpayers and they're paying GST, or women whose husbands are paying tax and or GST. All of these women are not eligible for this scheme. So this is one of the terms and conditions. We can expect someone to come closer to launch of the scheme. Now let's contrast this also with the DMK. Now the DMK has a scheme called Magalir Urimai Togai, which loosely translates to the rightful sum or amount for women. Now the DMK had promised 1,000 rupees per month for women in 2021 before the elections. Now it has been 2 years since the DMK came to power, but the scheme is yet to take off, and this is largely due to a very, very severe crunch of funds. 7,000 crore has been allocated in the last budget for this scheme, and it is supposed to be rolled out on September 15th, which is the birthday of former DMK founder leader Annadurai. But the details about terms and conditions are only expected to be revealed closer to September 15th. So we are going to have to wait and see how that works out. 7,000 crores is a lot of money. So we'll really have to wait and see how they have calculated this amount and how they are planning to roll this out. All right, let's talk about Shakti. Shakti is the free bus rides scheme. It was started on Sunday, that is 11th of June. And the women who want to avail of this have to buy themselves a pink Shakti card, for which the registration will begin from 15th June. So until then, they can use one of their ID cards, Aadhaar or whatever it is, ration card, which shows both their photograph as well as their residential address. So all women are eligible. All women residents of Karnataka are eligible. Except for AC buses, luxury buses, and the other kind of fancy buses that they have. Except for these, there is free travel within the state of Karnataka for all. Now, 50% of the seats have been reserved for men in the KSRTC buses, but not in the BMTC. And the minister had claimed, Minister Ramlinga Reddy, Transport Minister, he claims that 96% of buses are covered, but in reality, actually only around 85% of buses are covered for this free schemes for women, free bus pass for women. So the government has said that an estimated 41.81 lakh women will benefit, and more than 18,000 buses are available for these women to use. So once women get into the bus, they show their ID card, they are given a zero value ticket, and cost of this will be reimbursed to corporations by the state government. Okay. And the government has also announced that 1,894 new buses were planned to be procured this year. But in case there is higher demand, they will go ahead and purchase even more. Now, the thing is, already the transport STUs meaning state transport units, they are already running in huge losses, right? So let me give you a quick example, and that's on your screen right now. So the traffic revenue loss for the month of April 2022 and March 2023. It's a total of 4,390.27 crore. We're talking losses here. 4,390.27 crore. Mind boggling. And the annual cost of the Shakti scheme, as the government has informed us, is 4,051.56 crores. That's 4,000 crores, which means that your losses are likely to double. I honestly don't know how they're going to do this. So, the zero ticket bus travel scheme was already introduced in Tamil Nadu in May 2021. This was also one of the uh, election manifesto promises by the DMK. What happened after the scheme was implemented? Now, Tamil Nadu did not implement for across the state. Women cannot travel across the state of Tamil Nadu free of charge. What they can travel in is the white board or the ordinary buses, which generally ply in cities and towns of Tamil Nadu. And in these white board buses, which now also have a pink front, whatever, it's got a pink front side. These buses are allowed to take women without charging. Now, this has meant not allowing, restricting the routes and the distances traveled. This has meant that, in Tamil Nadu, okay, the last ticket price hike in Tamil Nadu was in 2018. That itself came 6 years after the last, the hike before that. And from ordinary buses, deluxe buses, super deluxe, ultra deluxe, all of them saw increase in prices per kilometer from around 18 to 20 paise up to around 50 paise. So following this, no price hike has happened, in fact, in the Tamil Nadu State Road Transportation Corporation. So it's highly likely now that both Karnataka as well as Tamil Nadu are going to have to increase the ticket prices in their respective transport corporations, because look at the amount of money that's being spent. That's 1,520 crore in Tamil Nadu, and in Karnataka it's 4,000 crores. So this means that there's going to have to be some kind of a way by which the transport corporations recoup the money that they are losing, and the state government too is going to have to find ways to ensure that they bring that revenue back, which they are now giving away to women as free bus rides. Okay, about Yuvanadi, well, more details are awaited. All we know at this point of time is that graduates and diploma holders who have completed their education, their tertiary education this year, that is 2022-23, and if they have not got a job for 6 months, after 6 months they can apply to the government of Karnataka, asking them for this, this amount that they can use as a subsistence, and this amount will only be given for a period of 24 months. And I am assuming that the dole will be withdrawn if this young person, this young graduate or diploma holder, manages to get a job within those 24 months when the scheme is applicable. Well, so that's the situation in Karnataka. A lot of confusion, a lot of anger, and it's really high time that the Congress government took note of this and at least attempted to communicate to the people as to what they are trying to do and why they are having to increase prices. Because remember, the Congress did go to polls on the charge that there is price rise across the country under the BJP government. Now the Congress is ensuring that whatever prices are in their control, in the hands of the state government, these prices too are rising and will continue to rise. So I would keep an eye out on property tax, on liquor prices, as in the excise duty. I would keep an eye out on petrol and diesel prices, because state governments can increase the tax on it. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out on all of these income generators for the state government, and we're going to have to ensure that more prices do not rise and put people into utter misery. Thanks very much for watching.